everyone. I'm Yuka Fukumori from Panasonic Sensei Semi. Today, I'm going to present about the power relationship between Japan and the United States. Here are contents of my presentation. First, introduction, and research question, method, and data. The analysis, conclusion, and works cited. Recently, the relationship between Japan and the United States is not tenser than the past. However, the relationship between two countries is not equal. And especially in regards to the problem of North Korea, and China has become a powerful economy, so the relationship between Japan and the United States more complex, and there are many complex problems among them. My research question is, why cannot Japan be at the same position, same level with the United States on problem of security? Japan has the relationship between with the United States on several other areas such as trade and politics. There is a clear hierarchical relationship between two countries on security policy. So I'd like to clarify whether the reason which two countries do not stand at the same level is that Japan do not have a military like the United States, or there are other reasons. The method that I use in my thesis is secondary research. I mainly use articles written about international security, the Japan-US alliance, and Japanese self-defense force. As a data, I mainly use journal articles in my thesis. These articles focus on Japanese security policy, changing Japanese constitution, especially Article 9, and the U.S.-Japan security policy and cooperation, and Japanese self-defense force. My research topic is on the unequal relationship between Japan and the United States in regards to security policy. The Japanese government wants to change the interpretation of Article 9 and reshape the capability of self-defense force. The reason why does Japanese government wants to start those administrative reforms is that Japan wants to be a beneficial partner of the United States. The reason two, Japan has the possibility to be attacked from countries nearby, for example, North Korea or China. So they must protect themselves from those threats. So I will analyze the reason why Japan cannot be on the same position with the United States on security area through considering question why Japan wants to change Article 9. Changing Article 9 means that Japanese government have to change many laws related with it. There are risks that Japanese people strongly opposed changing the constitution of Japan. As a matter of fact, some Japanese people have a demonstration. And I find two reasons why that Japan wants to change Article 9. Reason one, staying a beneficial partner of the United States. Reason two, Japan has a possibility to be attacked by a neighboring country. And Prime Minister Abe thinks that if Japanese Constitution, Article 9, will be revised, Japan will be able to be a beneficial partner in security area. Moreover, the changing of Japanese constitution will allow Japan to exercise the right of collective self-defense. According to Groening, Prime Minister Abe insisted that the defensive relationship between Japan and the United States would become stronger by abolishing the ban on collective self-defense. However, although Japan has become a beneficial partner for the United States, Japan does not stand at the same level with the United States. And here is the reason for Japan not being on the same level with the United States. Collective self-defense is one of the examples. Collective self-defense is the right in international law for a country to protect itself. In the interpretation of Japanese Constitution, Japanese self-defense force cannot exercise collective self-defense. Therefore, Prime Minister Abe wants to change Article 9. The second reason is Japan has a possibility to be attacked by a neighboring country. And there is a crisis that Japan may be attacked because of the changing environment surrounding Japan, such as rise of China and North Korea's missiles. In the present situation of Japan, there are U.S. military bases in many places of Japan, but Japanese people do not think positively about the military bases. The Japanese self-defense force is not allowed to use the power when other country attack. So Japanese government rely on U.S. military to protect Japanese people in the case of any emergency. In this situation, relationship between Japan and the United States is not equal because, as I mentioned, Japanese government rely on the United States in the defense. And Japanese government tried to improve the relationship between two countries by changing Article 9. And Japanese people will not positively accept this attempt because it involves changing Article 9. And Japanese government thinks that revision of Constitution of Japan is essential to improve the relationship. They need the power of United States and U.S. military because the Japanese self-defense force is limited their activities. And Japanese government needs to get the understanding of Japanese people. However, they do not carry out to get understanding. So the situation of Japan does not change. And Japan cannot stand at the same level with the United States on security area. And also that relationship between two countries does not become equal. Thank you for listening.
Hello everyone, my name is Miyaya Matsumoto and I'm from Maluseo Fukushima Zemi. And today I'd like to talk about what I've been studying about as my graduation thesis. When I was in Australia, I was doing shopping and looking for some shampoos which is famous in Western country. And the clerk came to me and changed the price from $16 to $8 and say to me, it's just half price, so you should get it. And I was like, I'm so happy when I saw the sign which is showing 50% discount. And of course, I decided to get it. However, suddenly I felt like I wondered that how much the prime cost of this shampoo is. Perhaps this shampoo would be just $8 or lower. If so, I think many companies lure the customer, including me, using some strategies which are related to customers' psychology. So, my research topic is how do IKEA and Costco use behavioral economics in their marketing strategies in Japan. And to study this topic, I've got 4 hypotheses. The first one is company makes customers come to the store and purchase something as much as possible, not regulating. And second, they try to promote customers to make a purchase and increase the probability of customers shopping. Third, they make and promote customers make a purchase something on impulse by using behavioral economics. And fourth, they make customers consider that they have to and want to visit again to buy their products. And I've studied about this topic through literature survey and collecting information from internet and doing fieldwork. And this is my table of content. In chapter 1, it's about behavioral economics, and in chapter 2, it's about IKEA's marketing strategies with behavioral economics, and Costco's marketing strategies with behavioral economics in chapter 3. So now let's move on to chapter 1. It's about behavioral economics. In conventional economics, it says that human maximize their own economics benefit by selecting the best option. This human type is called Homo economics. But however, a new area in economics was studied. This is the behavioral economics. Behavioral economics is a new economics that analyzes and demonstrates such as consumer behavior, psychological and emotional aspects without assumption of Homo economics. Let's take a look at the differences between now and conventional economics. In conventional economics, it's said like it's rational and people act with caution efficiently so that they don't lose profit. On the other hand, now behavioral economics is said irrational, and people sometimes act wrongly with their feelings and emotion. So now let's move on chapter 2. It's about IKEA. So today we don't have much time, so I'm going to explain about this anchoring effect by showing some structure of the IKEA. If you have been to IKEA, you might know that IKEA has one-way system. And can you see that like this arrow, the customer has to go along the one-way system. By doing so, IKEA makes customer look around the whole of the store. And furthermore, IKEA expands their store, like their products, restaurants, and display of the room and their products and refreshments such as ice cream and hot dog and beverage, something like that. The reason that the restaurant is located in the halfway point of IKEA is if customer look around the whole of the store, they need to walk 2 kilometers in total, so they need to take a rest so that they can do shopping in a perfect condition. When we enter IKEA, the price of the cheapest products catches our eyes at first. Showing low-priced product at first, IKEA makes customers assume that IKEA's products are affordable. This strategy is called the anchoring effect. The anchoring effect is an effect that causes people to focus on the first available pieces of information given to them when making a decision. For another example, like this picture, IKEA displays the mass marketing products, which are low-priced product, everywhere beside high-priced product. by displaying low-priced products beside the high-priced product, IKEA instilled the cheapness to customer, and customers think that IKEA's products it's not expensive, and customer cannot stop buying some products. And by using these strategies, IKEA makes customer make a purchase as much as possible. And it's about chapter 3, and it's about the Costco, and I've explored about 3 strategies: concord effect, minimization of choices, principle of returnability, give and take. Today I'm going to explain about this minimization of choices. Minimization of choices is the strategies that sellers try to limit the number of items of their products. There is one study that supports the minimization of choices. This is JAM study. JAM study is that psychologist Sina Anger and Mark Lipper conducted an experiment using jam. They set up display table with 24 varieties of jam and another table with only 6 varieties of jam, and they make customers sample them. As a result, 30% of customers sampled and bought jam at table with 6 varieties of jam. But on the other hand, just 3% of customers sampled and bought jam at table with 24 varieties of jam. What we can see from this study is many kinds of products make customers confused when they make a decision and purchase something. So let's look at how Costco uses minimization of choices. Costco tries to minimize products of same types so that the customer can make a purchase easily and without stress. For example, if you go to Costco, you can see that the Costco limits a sort of diaper and pizza and cake and something like that. And in conclusion, I've got 4 results. By using IKEA's effect, the customers feel that the furniture or product that customer assemble is going to be more valuable. After feeling a sense of accomplishment and special attachment to it, they tend to want to buy more products of IKEA. And by using anchoring effect and the principle of returnability, IKEA and Costco try to control customers' attention and psychology and make customers buy many unnecessary products. By using the Concord effect, Costco try to increase the probability that customers will visit the store as much as possible because customers don't want to waste the money that they have already paid for the Costco membership. And fourth, by devising the structure of store and minimizing of choices, IKEA try to focus customers' attention everywhere, and Costco try to minimize the burden put on person who consider buying something, and IKEA and Costco increase the probability of the customers shopping. And to sum up for the result, the IKEA and Costco try to sell their products efficiently, and they analyze this and make use of the customer's feeling and psychology to do their own business marketing. That's all for my presentation. Thank you for listening.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Tomomi Nagayama, and I'm in Fukushima Sensei's semi. Before I start my presentation, let me express my gratitude for his support. Thank you so much, and it's a great honor to speak to you today. My graduation thesis is about strategies of Trans-Pacific Partnership, Free and Open Indo-Pacific Vision, the Asian Infrastructure Investment Bank, and the Belt and Road Initiative. And I try to answer this question. Do these frameworks create a new world order? Today's my presentation consists of 5 parts, and it will take about 15 minutes. Firstly, I will introduce background of my topic, hypothesis, and methodology as an introduction. Then I will explain the contents of each chapter. Finally, I will show you the conclusion. So let me begin by talking about research background. The research background is every country conducts diplomacy based on geopolitical strategy, which greatly affect the evolution of the world order. I focused on Japan's and China's foreign policies, which including trading policies, to analyze the transition of world order. After the Cold War, the United States and China exist as superpowers, and Japan puts its relationship with America first, but also try to make good relations with other countries, including China. On the other hand, Japan and China try to show presence in the world by proposing policies such as TPP-11 and BRI. With the global situation changing day by day, I attempt to answer this question. Do the TPP-11, the F4IP, the EAB, and BRI frameworks create a new world order? As I said at the beginning. Then I set up a hypothesis like this. Japan and China are moving from competition to cooperation. Therefore, they would not build a new world order with a hegemonic power. And I conducted a literature survey. Now let's move on to Chapter 1. Chapter 1 is about world order. It is the basis of international politics, and according to Head Rebo, who is an international relations expert, it is a pattern of activity that sustains elementary or primary goals of the society of states or international society. And according to Yuichi Hosoya, who is a scholar in international politics, the world order consists of three fundamental concepts: the balance of power, concert, and community. The actual world order is formed with combination of the three. In order to make world order stable, common regional interests and values are essential. This is because when the Congress of Vienna system in the early of 19th century, the concert system rooted in the balance of power was established by the five power countries, such as the United Kingdom, France, which share the Christian values, and actually it brought a long peace over a century. It is said to be the most stable form of world order in history. And Japan is the country that plays an important role to form the concert system rooted in the balance of power, like Europe in the Congress of Vienna system. The center of world order is shifting from the Atlantic to Pacific trilateral US, China, Japan, three major economic powers relations. According to Hosoya, on US-China-Japan relations, balance of power means strengthening Japan-US bilateral relationship in order to counter a rising China. I also assume that TPP-11 and AIIB are also contributing the formation of the system. And the concert system implies developing the trilateral cooperation. Regarding US-China relations, it still remains unclear, so it is a challenge in making the world stable. But in terms of Japan-China relations, both of them have shown a willingness to compromise to each other. For example, Japan referred in case China joins the TPP and showed an attitude, as John Eikenberry, a professor at Princeton University, claims that it is important to put China into the liberal order. And in Chapter 2, I wrote about geopolitics of the world. According to Klaus Stotz, who is a professor at University of London, geopolitics is a way of looking and behaving that concentrated on the international relationship of territory, resources, and strategic access without being seduced by idealized understandings of what should happen. So we can say that it means a realistic and practical military strategy. And geopolitics has two fundamental concepts, sea power and land power. The classification of two power was first proposed by Halford Mackinder. He is a British and concerned about raising Russia and Germany, which are land power countries. He focused on heartland, which is the center of the Eurasian continent and includes Russia's territory. He said, "Who rules the heartland commands the world." In contrast to heartland theory, which focuses on the continent, Alfred Mahan proposed the theory of sea power, which focuses on the importance of seas. Alfred Mahan is an American naval officer, and his theory greatly affected American tactics, and the US became a sea power country. Then, in Chapter 3, is about geopolitics of Japan. Before the Second World War, Mahan's naval strategy had a great influence in Japan. However, after Japan lost the war, the people had a negative image to geopolitics because they thought it should be directly linked to wars. But in 2019, today, Japan's diplomacy steps into the geopolitics territory again, and Japan mainly advocates two initiatives called TPP-11 and Free and Open Indo-Pacific Vision, FOIP. Actually, on January 20th, 2019, Prime Minister Shinzo Abe delivered a speech and said, "We have actively engaged in diplomacy with a pragmatic perspective of the world map." So what is TPP-11? It is a trade pact among 11 Pacific Rim nations, and Japan took the lead in negotiations after the United States withdrew from the agreement in 2017. It has two meanings, economic significance and strategic significance. The first aim of it is Japan creates free and fair rules for the 21st century. Another aim is to deepen and broaden economic ties among countries and regions that share fundamental values such as democracy, basic human rights, and the rule of law. Also, the FOIP is another important foreign policy of Japan. A basic concept to realize the FOIP is developing Indo-Pacific region as an international public good through ensuring rules-based international order. And Japan will cooperate with any country that supports this idea. The FOIP originates from an idea conceived by Prime Minister Abe in 2012. He advocates the creation of democratic security diamond in which Japan, America, India, and Australia would safeguard maritime commons stretching from the Indian Ocean region to the Western Pacific. To sum up, he clearly mentions Japan's geostrategic role on his thesis. It is a map of Japan's project for the peace and stability in the Indo-Pacific region. Japan is pursuing regional peace and prosperity through connecting the continents and oceans with secured sea lanes in the Indo-Pacific region. Characteristics of two geopolitical strategy, TPP-11 and the FOIP, it can be classified into the concert system and balance of power. Firstly, let me explain the format. Japan proposed its third country business cooperation for the BRI. It means Japan tried to urge China to do infrastructure investment following international standards such as financial contentment by collaborating with China. And balance of power means Japan tried to hold China in check as a big power of Asia by proposing the TPP-11 and FOIP, and working together with America, India, and Australia. According to Matake Kamiya, a professor at the National Defense Academy of Japan, international order cannot be constructed merely by unilateral efforts of particular countries. So, as long as Japan is earnest about the realization of FOIP, it must focus on attracting other countries to its visions. For the purpose of making a success of its vision as a competitive strategy against China, Japan must give more than certain amount of consideration to its aspect of cooperative strategy toward China. Then, in Chapter 4, I wrote about geopolitics of China. From the 1960s, China works on strengthening of naval power. China is a land power country, but becoming a sea power country through geopolitical strategy called the BRI and AIIB. The BRI is an infrastructure program to connect Asia with Africa and Europe via land and maritime networks with the aim of improving regional integration, increasing trade, and stimulating economic growth. And the AIIB will be able to finance infrastructure project of BRI. The BRI comprises a Silk Road economic belt and 21st century maritime Silk Road. The former is based on Mackinder's idea, Heartland theory. The 21st century maritime Silk Road follows Mahan's geopolitical vision, which argues that sea power is a way of establishing world hegemony. And at the military level, the US Defense Department expects China to add military bases around the world to protect its investment in its ambitious BRI infrastructure program. Here is a map of BRI. There are two routes of BRI, as you can see, and please take a look at the bottom left, this. And China's overseas military base is already based in Djibouti with a red circle. Then China increases its influence by conducting foreign policies such as BRI and the AIIB with the idea of concert system rooted in balance of power, as well as Japan does. As for the concert system, China welcomes the West to the BRI and the AIIB. Actually, the AIIB and the World Bank signed a first co-financing framework agreement in 2016. Concerning the idea of balance of power, the Xi Jinping administration has set its national strategy under which China aims to become the global leader in place of the United States. America became to be a sea power country based on Mahan theories, and China seems to be following the path. According to Mahan, someone who rules big oceans dominates the world. So the establishment of China's foreign military base on the BRI project is a specific example of ways to increase its influence around the world as a sea power country. Through my research, I found that Japan and China seek hegemony as superpowers in Asia, but at the same time they try to share common interests and values through their frameworks. In other words, they maintain the concert system rooted in the balance of power, which is said that it brought along peace over a century. In conclusion, they would not make a new world order unlike the United States and the Soviet Union were. That's all. Thank you for listening.
Hello everyone. My name is Kazuko Shuto. I belong to Banasik Zemi. Today I would like to talk about my graduation thesis. The title is The Collaborative Efforts Between Honda and GM in Relation to Self-Driving Cars. This talk is divided into 5 parts. Let me begin with introduction. Will artificial intelligence exceed human capabilities in the future? The AI revolution is coming all over the world. AI is becoming increasingly sophisticated and is capable of performing complex tasks. 81.5% experts say that self-driving cars are the most useful for using AI. Self-driving will add benefits to our whole society. Self-driving cars equipped with cameras, radar, and sensors. By using these devices, driving becomes much safer. Every automaker is racing to release self-driving cars. In October 2018, Honda Motor Company and General Motors announced that they would partner in self-driving technology. Honda invested $750 million in GM Cruise Holding, a subsidiary of GM's self-driving field. That was the highest amount of investment for Honda. People expected that unmanned operation taxi hailing pilot service will be commercialized and developed worldwide. Honda and GM are aiming for zero accidents and CO2 zero. I focus on Honda and GM's self-driving cars in this thesis because I think the tie-up between the traditional automakers in the next generation of self-driving technologies suggests a new stage in auto sector competition. Secondly, I am talking about my research questions. I set my main research question as, what kind of collaborative efforts are there between Honda and GM in relation to self-driving cars? Before discussing the relationship between Honda and GM, it is necessary to analyze the differences between Japan and the United States in the basic AI. Therefore, I set 2 more research questions. One is, how different are AI technologies between Japan and the United States? Furthermore, I examine what are the strengths of GM and Honda self-driving car technologies. Thirdly, I analyze research questions in chapters 3 and 4. First, I examine how different are AI technologies between Japan and the United States of America. Japan lags behind the United States in AI research and development. Let's look at the scale of government investment related to AI. According to Sankei Shimbun, the total amount of related to AI projects that the government has budgeted for 2018, about 77 billion yen in Japan. On the other hand, according to the recent investment scale of the foreign government, comprised by the Ministry of Education, Culture, Sports, Science, and Technology, the United States is 5 billion yen, which is about 6 times larger than Japan. The difference in the scale of investment is also reflected in published research, with 24.6% in the United States and 2.1% in Japan, in the market share of papers with top 1 citations in AI-related field. Next, I will be talking about main policies and strengths of AI in Japan and America. AI Experts Meeting of the Organization for Economic Cooperation and Development was held in Boston in 2019. Osamu Sudo, who is a Tokyo University professor, attended as a representative of Japan. He announced 7 proposed principles for the government to use AI in 2018. They address specifically privacy and security. Japan appeals the human-centric side and aims for reliable AI. In contrast, in America, there are no restrictions on AI development. American IT giants that are overwhelmingly leading the service using the internet have high quality and quantity of big data. Hence, Japan tried to put some restrictions on the ethical danger against the United States, which is ahead in data storage and AI development. In Chapter 4, I would to look at the strengths of GM and Honda in self-driving car technologies. First, I will talk about the AI and self-driving car human resources for Honda and GM. Mid-career recruitment is increasing in the automobile industry, and it is clear that Japanese-style employment is at a turning point. Honda is one of them. According to Nihon Keizai Shimbun, there was a move to expand mid-career hires to support next-generation technologies such as self-driving. Honda hired 8 mid-career employees in 2011, but hired between 100 and 200 in 2012. It has grown since 2017 with around 660 people hired because of their AI skills. As you can see, GM employs the best talent from elite universities such as University of California, Stanford University, and the Massachusetts Institute of Technology. In 2017, these 3 universities ranked at the top in AI research. In the past, virtually no one from those elite universities applied to join GM. Under these circumstances, I argue that the importance of open innovation, in which multiple companies and universities cooperate in research and development on self-driving cars, is increasing. Second, I will talk about technologies of self-driving cars at Honda and GM. GM is raising the automatic level gradually, and Honda will launch level 3 autonomous vehicles in the summer of 2020. According to Yokoyama, Honda is researching the system using Ashimo, which is the first humanoid robot in the world. The developer made most of the data collected from Ashimo to create a self-driving car. Have you ever seen Ashimo before? Actually, I watched Ashimo's performance at Honda's headquarters last year. The robot can walk, avoiding desks and chairs. The Ashimo crew took part in developing Honda self-driving technology. The biggest advantage is using Ashimo's technology for Honda's self-driving cars. GM has carried out experiments on self-driving cars since 1950s. In 2017, GM invested $14 million in construction costs for the development site and produced Super Cruise. It contains cameras, radar, and LiDAR mapping data, and is combined with driver monitoring system. GM needs a mileage of demonstration experiments to beat other companies. Okay, let's take a look at the 2018 track record for a self-driving car's public road test in California. The GM travel distance from December 2017 to November 2018 is 720,374 kilometers. In second place in the world, Honda is not ranked in 25th place. Finally, in conclusion, Self-driving cars using AI technology are dispensable for us in the future. Requirements for self-driving are AI and the data that support it. It is obvious that the United States can call on engineers from all over the world by taking advantage of data and financial power. The United States is far ahead of Japan in terms of AI technology. Honda would need technologies and data of GM to create self-driving cars. Also, GM can improve the self-driving technologies. I believe that Honda and GM will work together to develop higher levels of self-driving cars by strengthening the partnership. Thank you for listening.
Thank you very much for all the presenters. Let's give a big round of applause again. Thank you. Okay, very good. And actually, this is the end of the presentation part of our day today. And we still have, of course, the posters in Meiji Lounge. Please make sure to visit and see all the posters, especially if you're in the third, second, and first year. Of course, if you're in the fourth year as well, make sure you check what your colleagues, your friends have done. And
I wrote my thesis about recent feminist movement in South Korea and Japan. This is my thesis. Both Japan and Korea have similar gender gaps affected the influence of traditional customs. However, in South Korea, feminism has been very popular and feminist movement has spread its demand. According to women news, 5 out of 10 Korean women in their 20s think that they are feminists. In July and November 2018, Korean Women's Policy Research Institute conducted an equal issue awareness survey of men and women in their 20s. Are you a feminist? In response to this question, 48.9% of people answered yes in July and 42.7% of them also yes in November. Also, in the questionnaire that I conducted to 100 Korean and Japanese students, 84% of Korean students think yes, and 92% of them have positive image about feminism. On the other hand, only 38% of Japanese students think they are feminist. 62% of people respond that they are not feminist, and 40% of people have negative image or they do not have interest about it. Why has feminist movement by young women been so popular in South Korea compared to Japan? To answer this question, I researched about gender inequality and recent feminist movement in South Korea. First, by using statistical data from Korean government, news articles, books, and conducted internet questionnaire to 50 students from South Korea and 50 students from Japan.
Thank you. This is based on my experience working in Florida and Miami. I thought immigrants are necessary for the United States because I am currently working in Miami and there are full of people from Latin America. They're part of the community. I think they belong to the United States, but some people like the Donald Trump, they think he thinks immigrants should be executed, but I believe that they are important for the United States and they help economy in the United States. So that's what I researched. And if they really execute them, I think the bad effects of excluding immigrants would be shortage of workers in service industry and physical labor. And when it comes to a long-term effects, I think it may even change the country's future course, since excluding immigrants would weaken the United States in many ways, particularly in diplomacy and innovation power, as the country's one of the strongest points is its diversity of people formed by immigrants.